I need to rip off this thing that's inside the shoe, so I'm tearing it off like this. And here there are two nails in the insole. There is one nail here and another nail. Here it is. Here we go. And I need to break off this insole. Now I will try to do it.
Without a clue, you won't guess whose hands these are and what, in fact, is happening. This is the real and honest behind-the-scenes look at the highest of the arts. Before an important performance, a ballerina prepares her ballet shoes.
Something like this.
Today you can buy point shoes with a tip made of modern plastic materials, but still they will never fit the foot as comfortably as these, made the old-fashioned way from papier-mâché, several layers of thick canvas glued together, and real leather.
Then I bent it along with all three insoles to make it softer. But you can't make it too soft, because if I do so, they will not last at all.
A ballerina needs at least 15 pairs a month. Each one takes at least 2 hours to prepare. This answers the question of what to do on your rare day off.
For ballets, where there is a festive atmosphere, where there is some kind of a wedding or a celebration, or if we talk about the bayadere, a shadow scene for example, you need completely pristine white shoes, so they must be new.
In a few days, she has a very important ballet performance on the main stage of the Mariinsky Theatre, Paquita, the main role. Leah Khoreva, to put it briefly, of those born in the 21st century, the #1 ballerina, not only in St. Petersburg, not only in Russia, and not only in Europe, winner of the Seoul Dance Award, the winner of the Grand Ballet TV project, winner of the Grand Prix at the Beijing International Competition, winner of the Carmen Mateo Prize for Best Young Ballerina in Europe. She graduated from the famous Vaganovka, the Academy of Russian Ballet, in 2018, and with invitations from 8 different theatres, without hesitation chose the Mariinsky. Her repertoire includes Giselle, La Bayadera, Sleeping Beauty, Raimonda, Don Quixote, The Nutcracker, Le Corsaire, and other lead roles. She became the first soloist of the Mariinsky at the age of 18.
So when I got there, I looked something like a newly hatched chick, very funny. There is such an expression that after school you dance by leaps and bounds. This means that those performances that take place immediately after school, they turn out to be the most daring, bright, filled with that special energy that you get when you just get out of school. You're fired up, you just can't wait, you really want to dance. This is how I felt.
The Petersburgers project tells the story of a young ballet star of the Mariinsky Theatre. Using the example of Maria Khoreva, we will talk about the cost of success, what sacrifices are required every day, and how the ballet stars of the 21st century differ from their great predecessors.
Hello, my beautiful friends, my name is Maria Khoreva and welcome back to my YouTube channel.
Lines up the frame, presses the record button all by herself. This is a shoot for her own YouTube channel. Masha produces it in 2 languages. As you can see, she's completely fluent in English, and this is very important because 80% of Khoreva's audience are foreign viewers. And for them, the young soloist of the Mariinsky Ballet provides a lovely image of contemporary Russian culture. Talented, educated, successful, in demand.
I thought that would be interesting. Hopefully you enjoy seeing this video, so let's get into it.
She approached the creation of the channel seriously and creatively. A young girl who understands what works well in social networks, she came up with various interesting ideas. For example, ballet in 30 seconds. She educates her internet audience without overloading it or tiring it too much.
Я очень люблю балет. И вот если через...
I really love ballet, and if through some of these ways I can interest someone in ballet, it's just very cool.
Это прям очень здорово.
One of the signature moves of the ballerina is her expressive extension. It is, of course, based on ballet flexibility. If you don't start stretching from early childhood, catching up is almost impossible. Masha was lucky because at the age of 3 she got into a sports section close to her home, and it turned out to be rhythmic gymnastics, where flexibility is one of the most important qualities.
Climbing frame. Well, you do the splits from a certain rail. Gymnasts, they're always very flexible. So we were sitting from the 3rd rail. You hold onto the rail with your hands and do the splits. It hurts and all that. Then they say, let go of your hands. And this is where the real help begins. Because then you understand that it will now hurt twice as much and you need to endure it anyway. And then they say, that's it. Now bend to your back leg. And this is stretching even more. But this trains willpower. I think that's when I learned how to win in the fight with yourself.
Back to the story of preparing pointe shoes for a ballet performance. The second, let's say right away, not the last stage. For this, in a hardware store, Maria buys ordinary vegetable graters in small batches. Who would have thought that this would be an indispensable tool for a ballerina? Maria grates off the tip of the box of her ballet shoes so that it becomes as flat, wide and sensitive as possible. The toes should feel the floor.
And if you grate a little unevenly, that's the worst that could happen. It's a nightmare. It's a disaster. The shoes become completely uncomfortable right away, especially for footwear. It becomes impossible to do in them. I'm breaking my right shoe now. And I'm not concerned so much about my right shoe. The right foot is always better, but the left foot, all the pirouettes are done on it. Here, look. You see how it looks here? Now it's a little uneven. You see, this is the part where I need to grate more so that this brown surface could be seen. And this greatly affects all rotations, all balances, very much so.
As you see, the work on the pointe shoes doesn't end there. On the contrary, it's only just begun. We'll come back to it. Calm, don't fuss. Walk with long legs. And the waist, point your nose there a little bit. And literally in one place here, extend the body forward and the nose forward. That's better, more. With the back, yes. Look at your neck, the back, articulate. The external lightness for which we all love ballet so much is deceptive. The key word in the profession is overcoming. Masha, who's just a little over 20, is of course no exception.
So
our body is what we use, what we abuse. I danced La Barrière the day before yesterday. Today everything still hurts. It's true, there is definitely this downside when any performance, especially when you really put in the work, is extreme exertion. Sometimes you lose up to 3 kilograms. You can't even see straight when you exit backstage. And you think, that's it, I can't even walk anymore.
If you get up in the morning and nothing hurts, they're dead. End of quote. A classic example of ballet humor. This is the truth of life. Performances on painkillers, on antipyretics with high fever in a state which an ordinary person would not even get out of bed. For them, this is the norm. But the interesting thing is,
it may sound sacrilegious, but sometimes it feels that happiness is directly proportional to the pain that you experience while trying to achieve it.
it looks like a cross between a hammer and a jackhammer. This is the so-called percussion massager. It actually acts like a hammer, breaking up stiff muscles. Maria treats her body very responsibly. She treats it as a work instrument that must be kept in perfect condition. Every day, in addition to performances, classes, rehearsals, Khoreva spends at least an hour in the gym. To put the task simply, by doing this she recharges and decreases the tension in the muscles of her body that are overused in dancing ballet. Maria learned that this was necessary from experience. In 5th grade, at the age of 14, she was preparing for an international competition and overexerted her legs so much that they couldn't withstand it. Her Achilles tendon got chronically inflamed and Khoreva was left without ballet for 6 months.
Меня тогда практически отчислили.
Then I was practically expelled from the academy because I missed a lot of classes and rehearsals. It's now that you realize that if you come to a doctor and he says, well, you better quit this occupation, you just say, no, this is not for me, goodbye. But at that time I believed every single word. Then people would say, well, maybe you don't need to do ballet anymore, there's something wrong with your leg. And then we would come home and cry all together. I cried the most. My parents didn't show it. They scolded me for crying. And then they themselves cried secretly in their bedroom.
Родители не показывали этого, ругались на меня за то, что я плакала, а потом сами плакали.
And now the wrist. Elongate your arm there, more. Feel your shoulder blades. An integral part of the profession is joint hyperplasia, not very pleasant to say the least. But here there are no options. The ballet extension requires much more mobility from the joints than is provided by human nature.
Это нетипично для обычного человека, те травмы, которые
This is not typical for an ordinary person, the kind of injuries that happen to ballet dancers. Sometimes they don't even prescribe a sick leave for the type of injuries that we sustain. I almost had a surgery. One doctor said to me, that's it, we can do an operation today.
Можно сегодня уже прооперироваться.
Hold on this position a little. Hold on. Now écarté. Just for a second, stay. Had she decided to have the operation then this dress rehearsal of the ballet Paquita or all the others in her career most likely simply would not have happened. Today, taught by her own bitter experience, Khoreva could write a dissertation on the prevention of sports and ballet injuries if she felt like it. But so far, fortunately, she doesn't have the time for that. She's got a lot of work to do.
Короче, смотри, Машулька, тебе все-таки...
Masha, it would be great if you do it like this. Here you are flirting with him all the time anyway. You're like, here he is. So he finished here and you just run into the corner and he's like, wait a little, and then you sort of... Under the supervision of choreographer Yuri Smikalov and teacher Elvira Tarasova, the performer of the main male part, Kim Kim-in, is rehearsing with Maria Khoreva, principal dancer of the Mariinsky Theatre and without exaggeration one of the world's leading dancers of the 21st century. He's been in the Mariinsky Ballet Company since 2012, so he's got a lot of experience, but now it's a especially important moment for him and for Khoreva, as we're witnessing the introduction of a new artist in the part. Kim-in is preparing for his debut in Paquita.
He always builds a role from start to finish, and he already knows how to make it so that the audience clearly understands what he is trying to say, so that it feels the emotion he wants to transmit.
Четко поняла ту эмоцию, которую он хочет транслировать.
Unlike Maria Khoreva, whose childhood was spent just a kilometre away from the Mariinsky Theatre, Kim-in was born and raised in Seoul. But he and his partner and his teacher speak the same language, in every sense of the word.
After all, even though he studied at a Korean school, Kim-in was trained by Russian teachers, and that says it all. He grew up in the Russian school tradition.
Stop. You didn't get it. No, I agree, but then there's a pirouette immediately after. It turns out a little muddy. This back is a bit muddy. The cultural exchange is still taking place, as you'll now see.
I've been really into Korean music lately. It's called K-pop. There's a group that is very, very popular now. Its name is BTS, Bangtan in Korean. This song is on my ringtone.
Music has been a part of her life almost since birth. Her parents gave her first music lessons, done surprised at the age of 1. As is appropriate for a ballerina who grew up in the centre of St. Petersburg in an artistic family, Maria's been playing piano for as long as she can remember. Her relationship with the instrument has changed over time, from love to hate. Now it's love, and most likely it will stay that way.
Я с 5 лет начала играть.
I started playing at the age of 5, and at one time I played very well, but I practiced a lot. And I even won some kind of a competition once at the age of 10, some kind of an international one.
музыка всегда
I always have music accompanying me when I'm warming up, when I'm preparing for a performance. Always headphones, noise reduction, everything as it should be. And sometimes, if I get up and feel very low, when, for example, I put on makeup or brush my teeth, I just put on headphones, listen to some fast track, and it saves the situation in most of the cases.
The track should be fast and, what is especially important for Maria, motivating. You may be surprised when you find out what kind of music helps the first soloist of the Mariinsky Ballet tune into the performance. It's Russian rap.
Вот это мой
This is how to say my universal motivator. I think I know all the words in this song by heart. The main thing is to start now and not after you realize when it's too late.
Let's do it, come on. Let's do it, come on. Enough with the words, let's do it. St. Petersburg, Rossi Street. Even people who are very far from art know that Vaganovka, the Academy of Russian Ballet, is located here. It's referred to as the best ballet school in the world, and it definitely is, considering its historical merits and its status today. Children from the age of 9 to 12 were accepted to Vaganovka and enrolled in the first grade. It's as if this is meant to emphasize, friends, everything that happened in your life before this doesn't really matter. In 8 years of studying, about 3 out of 4 don't make it. It's harsh, but it's really the best who survive. Out of 100 students accepted in the first grade, an average of 2 to 4 people are lucky to join the Mariinsky Ballet Company, of course, depending on the number of available positions. Maria Khoreva entered the academy without any issues. The first few years, because of the training she received in rhythmic gymnastics, she was absolutely the best in her class, and naively she thought it would always be the case. Maria says that during the first years of her studies she didn't try very hard, but then the moment came when her classmates caught up with her, and some even went further.
И вот тогда
And then this mechanism of willpower created when I was doing gymnastics kicked in again, and I began to overcome myself.
Overcoming means staying in the studio after class, exercising during the holidays, exercising on the weekends.
И вот эта самостоятельная работа.
And this individual work, I think, is generally the key to the work of an artist. Because nothing will happen without working on your own.
Don't tense up your neck, grow taller, taller. 10 years later, Khoreva's attitude towards working on her own hasn't changed. Colleagues know where it's easiest to find her, in the studio. Watch your feet. Or, for example, in the dressing room with a needle, thimble and thread in her hands.
Это уже стертая. И мне нужно вот этот пятак,
This one is already
чтобы он
grated,
не был вот
and I
таким
need to down this tip of the shoe
Мне
so
нужно
that it will not
его
look so ugly.
обшить по периметру, ну, чтобы еще вот это вот
And so that
каемочка,
this
она
trim,
дает
it makes it
возможность еще
possible to
лучше.
keep balancing it, to stay even more stable.
Еще более стабильную сделать опору.
That's how it is in reality. By the way, how many pairs of point shoes do you think a ballerina needs for one performance? 1? Or maybe 2?
Ну вот на пахету мне надо 3.
Well, for Paquita, for example, I need 3.
Ну, вообще
To
мне
keep
нужно
calm,
еще
just
одна
in
пара для
case,
успокоения,
as a
на
spare
всякий
one.
случай, как запасная.
Ян-тарадан-тарам-пам-пим-пам. Ты прям любуешься?
You're just admiring her. Now I'll kiss her, now I'll kiss her. And finally the phrase comes and you're trying to kiss her, but she just runs away. It's just that later I need to have the time to push him away charismatically. That's just the word. Charismatically push him away. I agree. The classic Paquita at the Mariinsky Theatre was staged by the great Marius Petipa 175 years ago. Paquita is considered to be a ballet in which female soloists can fully demonstrate their skills, especially their technique. As people who know say, this is a ballet to the glory of ballet. There wasn't enough charisma in the push. Yuri Smykalov, one of the most popular choreographers of our time, took all the best from the classics and went further. Paquita of 2017 in his version is a bright, unusual but at the same time a much more difficult story for the performer.
Так как Пахита все-таки это женский балет в первую очередь.
As Paquita is a female ballet, first and foremost, it was interesting to work here in such a way that a ballerina who dances a classical part, moreover, one of the most difficult parts in the repertoire, she dances classical variations, character twist, and also does character dances, also having a large number of mise en scène, and having a lot of pas de deux is also unusual for a classical ballet performance. Also, pas de trois, from the point of view of such an upward trajectory, from the beginning to the very end. Holding this concentration, it's a super difficult task. He has an idea. He took money there. He threw it there at her feet. Ready? You say ready? Let's get the others. It's almost time for the performance. The first Paquita with Maria Khoreva and Kim Kimin in the main roles, and now the finishing touches in her work with the ballet shoes.
Ну и давайте покажу, как я шеллаком, да, заливаю.
Well, let me show how I use shoes. And I also fill it with super glue. I pour it inside here, probably something like a third of the tube, right there, right into the box itself. Yes, that's it. And then I put it to dry like that.
Вот так вот. А потом, если мне нужно, вот они должны немножко так подсохнуть.
Then, if I need the shoe to be harder, I put this glue here, like this, along the edges of the outer sole, and also inside along the edges of the insole, and then they become harder.
Тогда они становятся более жесткими.
Now the shoes need to be left to dry for 2 hours and they'll be ready for the performance, just as Maria Khoreva herself is now ready to come out on the stage of the Mariinsky.
Во-первых, мне персонаж близка, это цыганочка.
First of all, I feel very close to the character, to this young gypsy. And in general, the cool thing is that in this ballet by Yuri Smykala, by our Yuri Sanich, there are so many events. It's almost like a detective story. There's always a lot going on stage, and it's interesting to dance. This adds such a drive to this ballet, and even though it's complex, it's hard to endure, there's so much action all the time. And there's always this atmosphere, this energy from all the people on stage, from the costumes, from the cool new scenery, from this constant cart riding. And there is all this movement, adrenaline. You give your energy to the public, and the public gives back many times more. This is such a joyful ballet for me.
Такой радостный балет для меня.
Мария Khoreva, конечно, в первую очередь...
Maria Khoreva, of course, is above all distinguished by her diligence, by her dedication and maximum involvement in the creative and professional process. Why is she suitable for this role? Because, after all, our lead character, Paquita, is a girl who's 15 to 16 years old. And there is this moment of transformation in the role, when from a young girl, sonorous, so luminous at the very beginning with character dances, with different variations, it gradually comes to this solemn grand pas, where you see all the technique of classical ballet and fouettes and variations and entrée and coda already in maximum resolution. Maria Khoreva is a very good girl. She, of course, has a huge amount of potential. She has a rare sense of rhythm, a very important quality for a ballet dancer. Mikhail Baryshnikov is considered to be a prime example of this. Khoreva has impeccable lines, the length of her arms, legs, neck, hyperextension of the legs. She also has another quality that is unnoticeable in everyday life, a big arch of the foot. A high arch makes it difficult for the ballerina to move on point shoe, fouette, balance, small steps, pas de bourre. It's more difficult to perform, but it makes her performance spellbinding. By the age of 21, she's already achieved a lot, but Khoreva is one of the very few who has a chance to become an elite, custom-made star of world ballet. Whether she will make it to the top, only time will tell. Another workday is coming to an end, minus 3.5 kilograms, although it seems where could she lose more weight, and the feet work to the bone. All this in fact seems insignificant compared to the magical feeling that only a few lucky people are fortunate enough to experience in this lifetime. Those who are given a chance to dance solo parts on the stage of one of the leading ballet theatres in the world.
Это и работа, и хобби, и жизнь, и...
This is work and hobby and life and its meaning. All this taken together is never-ending work on yourself and constant artistic searching.
Иначе, если не продолжать...
Otherwise, if you do not continue to bite into this work and claw your way up, clinging to some barely protruding ledges on the rocks, you simply roll back, and that's it. A very simple arithmetic. Well, this is a lifestyle, this is ballet, it's a way of living.
Это арифметика очень простая. Это стиль жизни. Вот балет — это как вот принцип такого существования.
It's almost midnight. Maria Khoreva goes home. There's a couple of hours to recover, get some sleep, and tomorrow at 10 a.m. return to her beloved Mariinsky. Another ballet class and rehearsals, rehearsals, rehearsals.